think picking up technical jargons and technical skill sets, to me, it's not hard. You just have to put the work in, especially when you study for the CompTIA A+.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Cyber Revolution podcast. I'm Adam Hewitt, the CEO of Cyber Revolution, and today I'm joined by a current student of ours, Raphael Lim. Raphael, how are you?
Good. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, and I obviously you've just finished up work. We're doing a bit of a late. You're based over in Perth. You've just finished your work. You've started into a new role, which we're going to get into. That's the reason I've got you on the podcast. You've been an excellent student of ours. I was actually talking to Isabella, your student support officer, today about you, and she supported you through your studies. The reason I wanted to get you on the podcast is because you have just recently accepted your first role within the industry. So congratulations, first off. We're going to get into the details of that. But before we do, I want to give our new listeners of the podcast a bit of an overview of who this podcast is for. If you're listening for the first time, we are finding we're getting more and more listeners each week, which is great. So Cyber Revolution, we are Australia's only dedicated cybersecurity training and placement institute. So we specialize in finding people their first job in cybersecurity. Okay, so if you're interested in that, if you're interested in all things cybersecurity, then this is the podcast for you. Over the years, we've been helping hundreds of people land roles into the industry, but we still get inundated with questions, people coming up to us going, what is cybersecurity? How can I get into this industry? What skills do I need? What jobs are available? All of these questions. So we want to answer all of those questions at scale, and so this is the reason we've started this podcast. Okay, so if that sounds interesting, then this is the podcast for you. Okay, Raphael, let's get into it. Where I want to start is from the very beginning, where I do with all of our students. Everyone's got a bit of a different story why they decided to change careers into cybersecurity. What was it for you? Why? What made you start thinking about a career change?
Okay, so a little bit of background. So I moved to Australia when I was in high school. Then I did TAFE, I did uni, graduated in film, and then I couldn't find any jobs here. So I went to Singapore. I went to Malaysia to work, and started a business doing social media marketing and video production. And after a while, I got married. The business wasn't going anywhere. I was kind of like stagnant. So I decided to just close it, come back to Australia, start afresh. And knowing when you come back to Australia with a new family, it becomes like it kind of feels like you're coming back to Australia all over again. And the competition is stiff, especially if you're doing video production and if you're doing online marketing. You're not just competing with people locally on the ground, but you're also competing with very skilled migrants coming in. And if you pay for like a LinkedIn premium, you get to see how many people applied for one job. For one decent job that pays over $80,000 or close to $100,000, even with many years of experience, you find yourself competing with like 300 applicants or more for that one job. And the other thing is that because of these skills, the barrier of entry to marketing is actually quite low. And because of that, I decided that, okay, I probably have to play to my advantage on what Western Australia is in demand for. So if I really want to take off in my career, I should play in what Australia is good at or what they need. And so when I went through, I think I was either a Facebook ad or something. I clicked on Cyber Revolution, and Jake was the one that called me, and we went through a little bit. Yeah, I discussed with my wife. I was like, I think this is pretty good, because I used to do a programming boot camp before in Malaysia, doing iOS development, but because I didn't have any mentorship, any guidance, I didn't really know how to go or where to go from there. So what I did was I thought about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to invest this much of money and time, and on top of that, you got to take care of your wife, your kid, and so I took quite a bit of time off. Initially, it was tough. The first 6 months was just to get the first exam done from CompTIA A+, because I had to juggle work and studies, and because it's all brand new to me, I was just like, how does this work? But it only took me about, I think, 2 to 3 months to get the second exam done, and then I got like my first certification. And after that, I told Isabella, my support officer, like, let's try to go for gold. Like, let's try to finish all these pieces of paper by end of the year. But what I also noticed is that when you're trying to look for a spot, especially in the IT world, there are businesses out there that are looking to hire people who have no experience before. And I think getting the CompTIA certification, especially for me, because I only have the A+, I don't have Network Plus or Security Plus yet. I think it helped the employer to see that, hey, this guy's putting in the effort and the time to study, so why not give this guy a go? So from all the...
Exactly. Taking it seriously.
Oh, yes, definitely. So from all the IT roles that I've applied, I didn't even get one call back except for this one job. Okay, so imagine this. So when I was applying for marketing, I didn't get any calls. So it was 0% chance of ever landing an interview. But when I applied for CyberCX, at least I got some sort of reply. Yeah. So, but I didn't get it.
And that's your background, right? You've got experience in that.
So I didn't get into CyberCX in the first round or the second round, but it gave me an opportunity to think like, hey, this is kind of working. So why not apply to as many as I can? And the Fujitsu one, I think it was either on LinkedIn or one of the other job sites, and I just applied just for fun. I was just applying everywhere, and I just wanted my foot in the door. And I know that if I could start at level 1, right, and work your way up, it would be a lot easier than trying to just get certifications and try to enter in that way. Because once you're in the door and then you get certification, it means so much more. Yeah. So that was me. I didn't expect to get anything at first, because I thought, okay, I'll just finish Network Plus and Sec Plus and stuff like that. But because of this opportunity that I got, yeah, I had to push the Network Plus exam a little later. If I didn't get the job this month, I'll probably be sitting for my exam like now. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. And so there's a bit to unpack there, because I want to touch on it was quite a logical approach to how you ended up in cybersecurity. You're obviously in an industry where you had skills and experience as a digital marketer, but then you found that industry was flooded with talent, right? And so you're not even getting callbacks, you're not getting interviews. And so you took a very logical approach to then 0%, right? To then look at an industry to go, okay, what is the complete opposite of that? What skills is there a scarcity of, and what skills are going to attract employers? And so that's a really good approach if you just sit back and go, okay, I'm going to do the complete opposite of what I'm actually doing now in regards to the challenge that I've got, the problem that I've got, and then decide to take action. Were you nervous about that? Like having obviously your skill set within marketing, then going completely into a new industry and learning a new set of skills and putting yourself out there?
I don't think it was that scary, because I think picking up technical jargons and technical skill sets, to me, it's not hard. You just have to put the work in, especially when you study for the CompTIA A+, like when you're coming from a marketing role to something this technical, because it's so broad, like it really pushes me to study a lot more. And I know that if I can study for A+, I can definitely take on this job, because it's customer service plus tech roles. So,
yep.
And normally level 1 tech roles they're not very deep, but they're very broad. So you cover everything from like printer issues to software issues, but you are like, you only solve the level 1 issues. If you can't, you escalate it to the next team. So I don't think that was an issue for me. Yeah.
Great. And so you obviously then decided to get into cybersecurity. Go, cool, there's a skill shortage here. I'm comfortable. I can learn the skills. I'm going to go for it. You then came across us. You mentioned on Facebook. You obviously understand probably more than myself how the Facebook algorithms work and how people are targeted on that in regards to social media marketing. That's what you used to do. What was it about Cyber Evolution that made you decide to go, yep, this is the training provider I'm going to use to get me a leg up into the industry?
Okay, so knowing that because right now I'm living with my parents. We have a house here, 5-room house, so we can fit everyone in there. So our plan is to initially buy a house in Perth, and a couple of years, because we want to be on our own and all that. at one point in time, I was studying Masters of Teaching for a while because I thought, okay, maybe teaching could be the way. But the thing was, my wife wasn't making enough to cover all of our expenses. So I decided that, okay, if I were to do it, what would be the fastest way for me to get a job that earns more than 80? Because at that point in time, I was working at a mortgage broking firm. We're doing the marketing part-time-ish, full-time, depending on whether the season was high or low. And I knew how much you would need to make in order to buy a house here. So based on what I knew from my previous job, I then started looking at opportunities elsewhere. Now the thing is, I don't have time to go and sit down and do a master's in something else because it would take too long. And I thought, like, if I put in the effort on my own pace, and if I could finish this and it would kind of get me into a job that would pay well, or that has that even if it does not pay well at first, it has that potential to go boom if you put in the effort. So I thought, okay, IT would be a great way to go. The first 6 months after I passed my first certification, I was like, okay, I can do this. So I told my boss, I want 2 days off. So out of the whole week, right, 3 days I'll be working, then 2 days I'll just be like studying CompTIA, doing everything I could.
He was okay with that?
Oh, he was fine with it. I mean, he was supportive because he knows that he can't pay more than what I want, what I'm trying to ask for anyway. So he was the one that also was quite supportive of my role to IT. Yeah. So I told him I'll be back in a year or so to get a loan from.
Yeah, exactly. It'll come full circle. We'll become a client, and so that was really important, right? To be able to then provide for your family. Obviously, the financial is a really good motivator for a lot of people to get into the industry. But you mentioned as well the career progression is something that excites you.
So I started off going through cyber revolution. I was like, okay, cybersecurity would be like the only path that I currently know right now. Pays well, it's quite in demand. But the other thing is that even if you don't want to do cybersecurity, even if you find your footing somewhere else, whatever you've learned from getting the certifications from Network Plus, Security Plus would open up a lot of doors, because you won't just be able to move vertically up, like service delivery and stuff like that, but you can also move sideways. So if you know a bit of networking, a bit of security, I believe, because from talking to other people, that you can actually move laterally. So if you have Network Plus or Security Plus, if you have CISA you could kind of move into cloud security, you can move into network engineering, and all those things do pay quite well as well. And they also need people to secure those environments. So I thought this would give me the most number of opportunities to branch off into different types of jobs.
Great. And there's a lot of breadth and depth to cybersecurity, dozens and dozens and dozens. Typically, in an entry-level role, there's only a few different pathways you can go down. But once you get your feet under the desk and you get some experience for the first 1 to 2 years, there's a lot of doors that start opening, a lot of different options, just depending on what you then like, and then you restudy and then choose that pathway. For you, let's talk about your entry-level role. We don't need to go into too much detail, but just explain a little bit about the role that you've just landed. I guess you've been in that now for how long? Just the first couple of weeks? Tell us how that's been as well.
I'm in the second week now. So I'm still in training. My role is more of level 1, so we do a lot of troubleshooting. If we can't solve it, we'll then send it off to second level. So it's a big company, and we service we have many departments and all that. So it's a great way to move within the company, especially if you love what you do, you love the team, you love who you're working with. There are KPIs as well, like all organizations do. And I think one thing you have to tell yourself is that even when the going gets tough, right, you should still continue to stay and try to do your best.
Yeah, I think so too. KPIs are a good thing, right? It lets you know what standards you need to hold yourself to and what goals you need to set. And as long as they're achievable and realistic, especially for someone in an entry-level role, they're really important. And you got to lean into those. So you're in a big organization at a level 1 role. That obviously gives you a lot of room then for that growth that we're talking about, which is important. How have you found the first 2 weeks? They really inviting? Are you training? Are you learning? Do you like the team?
Oh, definitely. The team is supportive. The team leaders are fantastic. I think getting this job for me is like a golden goose, And because my role is also after hours, so once we are trained after the first month, we will be placed on like a night morning shift. So my life, there will be a bit of sacrifices on the relationship end kind of thing, like going out with friends and stuff like that, because you have to start somewhere. So I'm looking at if I could do this for about a couple of years, and because they are also paying for training and all that, they want to see their staff developing themselves. So just make full use of that, and yeah,
That's exciting, man. So you've
go at it.
You've kind of decided, right? You've probably spoken to your wife, spoken to your friends, and look, for the next 2 years, I'm going to put my head down and I'm really going to focus on working hard to put us in a good position to be able to buy a house, live the life we want to live in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, and I also told my wife, like, I would have to really work my way and get the certifications, get the experience, and to also grow. So the whole idea is not just to think, oh yeah, I think people could be really comfortable in a level 1 role and stay there for a long time. But then if you want to go up, you could also do that. Like, if you want to be like a service team delivery manager or so forth, you got to get the ITIL certifications. But then if you want to go up to level 2, level 3, then you need more technical certifications, which is why I'm still continuing the Network Plus. Once I get my job settled in, I'll still be continuing my studies for that. Yeah.
It's amazing, right? Like, it's cybersecurity is probably, I've been in the education industry for close to 12 years now. And cybersecurity is the only industry I've seen students land roles before finishing their courses. Right? It happens a lot. It happens quite often. I don't want to say a lot because we want to promote, we want to make sure our students get the certificates. And this is important for you as well, Raphael. Still, I know that you're busy and you're learning on the job and you've still got your certifications to complete. Please do not take your eye off how important those are, and lean in. Still catch up with Bella, your student support officer, on the weekly basis, and make sure we get those certifications done, okay? Because it's very, very important to do that.
Of course, I still want to get my exam vouchers in.
Yeah, you will, mate. You'll get it done, no doubt. What I want to end on, this is what I end on with all of our conversations with our students. You've decided to make the change. You've obviously gone about it in a really logical way. As I said, you've gone from one industry that was flooded with talent to another industry now that is screaming out for more talent. You've invested in yourself, started your studies. For anyone who, was in the position you were in 6-8 months ago, and they're in that position now thinking about a career change, not satisfied with the role that they're in, what would be your 3 top tips to that person to help get them into the industry?
3 top tips. I think it would be, if you are looking at a career path that has a lot of potential and probably will not run out pretty soon, IT is probably a pretty good way to go. Number 2 is, I think we shouldn't disregard fundamentals, and we should probably finish the CompTIA A+. I think it's really useful, especially during my interview. I had a technical interview, and everything they asked was exactly what I learned in my exams.
Wow. Oh, tell us more about that. So you literally, what you were asked in your interview stage for your role, you had then already studied and completed in the certification, your CompTIA A+.
Yeah, so CompTIA A+ is more like a help desk kind of certification. So when I went for a technical interview, I was kind of half-half. I wasn't sure whether I was going to get in because I wasn't sure whether they would ask very complicated command line questions and stuff like that. But because I knew the basics, so they will ask things like, what's IP config? So I knew exactly what it was. I was like, okay, I studied this in my exam. I just told them exactly what it was. Then they started asking what ticketing systems. I'm like, okay, I did it in a simulation. I could explain what it does. So I think a lot of what you learn in A+ shouldn't be disregarded, especially if you're starting from level 1. I know that there are some students of yours who probably went straight into cybersecurity, like cybersec program stuff like that. Yeah, everyone's different. So I decided that if I could get this, I would just get it and get my experience here first. And I think the last thing about thinking whether you should get into this industry is that it doesn't require so much time, like getting another piece of paper, like, a master's in something else. As long as you can get the certification, it proves to whoever you're trying to apply that you're putting in the effort, and you should be given a fair opportunity to go for the interview at least. Because I know that employers will probably get someone who is more experienced, but if you're doing in the work, I think they may give you a chance. And I think that's probably what happened when I applied. They probably saw the resume and be like, okay, maybe you could give the guy a chance. And it was the only one I got, so I just took it. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, really well done. As you said, you've taken a proactive approach and you've applied for roles, and we've put positions and opportunities in front of you whilst you're studying, which is important. You've grabbed them with both hands. And a couple of things there that are really key takeaways for people listening, both who aren't students or aren't even in Cyber Revolution yet, and for those who are in Cyber Revolution. For the students that are currently studying and their career changes, which is the majority of people that we do help, right? The career changes, everyone hears me bang on about it a lot. Career changes are the key to closing this cybersecurity skill shortage. They come to us, and initially we don't just jump straight into the cybersecurity skills or certifications. You have to learn the fundamentals of IT first, which is what we're talking about when we say the CompTIA A+, which is a certification that we offer. The basics of hardware and software. And a lot of people will be like, why do I have to do that? It's not a cybersecurity specific certification, but it is the fundamentals, as you said, Raphael, and it is so important, and it's landed you a role, and it is the foundation that you're going to build everything else off. So that is extremely, extremely important for anyone listening. I think that's a really, really good tip, mate.
Thank you so much.
We're going to end it there. I think some really good tricks and tips for people listening in. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Raphael. I know you're a busy man. You've just started a new role. You're in training, and you've hurried home to have this, to take some time out. And
I'm 100% remote. So
you're remote?
I'm 100% remote.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah, I'm working from home too. Oh, brilliant.
Okay, I can give you. I can give you a little bit of a joke. So when I landed the role, I spoke to HR and be like, hey, so I'll see you guys on Monday, for the training, because training was 1 month. The guy was like, nope, we'll ship you the laptop. I was like, okay.
Oh, so you literally have entered into a new industry, applied for a job, you're in training, and you haven't met anyone from the organization.
No, not in person. And here's the really cool thing about working after hours, right? So my schedule was like 4 days off, 4 days off, 4 days on, 4 days off thing. So it's kind of like 5-4 from home. So of course, because I just started, because it's a 4 days off, 4 days on thing, so you have to work on weekends and stuff like that. So, but hey, I'll take it. Service desk level 1. Let's go.
Awesome, mate. I'm pumped for you, right? And so let's obviously continue to reach out to Bella. I know you're busy and you're obviously got your studies and work. Continue your studies, mate, and lean into that, and we'll get your certifications finished. But congratulations again on getting your foot into the door and getting into this industry. You've got an exciting career ahead of you. Everyone for listening, if you enjoy the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe. Let your friends know about the podcast. You want to know more about the job placement program that Raphael is currently in, then head to cyberrevolution.com.au. You can leave your details there, and someone from the team will be in touch. Thanks for listening.